Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the Critic Cynic. How is everyone doing this afternoon? Thank you so much for putting up with my very early edition of the One Man Low Council. But as I was telling my Valkyrie earlier, I am going to support a friend who is singing in a competition tonight, and I want to make sure that I not only have time for that, but also to have time to spend time with Freya when she gets home from work, and that is why we are doing it early. So what's going on? Bruce says, Odin! What's going on, bruv? How is it going? Bruce, so glad to have you here. Slice of Neons is here, Grandmaster Yoda is here, the Senate is here, Mark Lasurth. What's going on, Mark Lasurth? And yes, the day that I become as late as Gary will be a crazy day indeed, because Gary is hours upon hours late. I'm usually minutes upon minutes late. And I always try and give as much advance notice when we are doing things early or late as best as I possibly can. Rosetta Allen says, hello, I'll be following from back rows photographing birds today. Well, awesome, Rosetta Allen. Good luck with that. Hope everything turns out great. Tina says, I ate lunch. I'm good. Tina, fantastic. Glad to hear it. Very sorry again, indeed, Tina, that we are starting as early as we are. Mikey Wood says, Odin, what's going on, bruv? How's it going? Alex McCarthy says, I am here, Odin. Howdy, Odin. Haven't seen you in a very long time. I know, Alex McCarthy. It's not like we had an earlier stream over on the Welcome to Asgard channel watching an amazing edition of Predator 2. That was a fun stream this morning. I had fun. Slice of Neon says, Odin's alive. Slice of Neons is alive. Bruce says, I made it. I'm glad to hear that, Bruce. Glad that you've made it. Bruce is a very generous donor to the channel, always sending me movies. Most recently, they sent me the Blu-ray for Swamp Thing, the 1980s Swamp Thing, and also the DVD for, oh my gosh, I just blanked out on the name of the movie. Arsenic and Old Lace. Sorry, the DVD is staring right at me. So, Arsenic and Old Lace, both movies that I've not seen yet at this time. John Wheeler says, so Odin, did you happen to see the fight? Also, why is the big woman in talks to play Ursula? Hashtag fat shaming. That is a very good point, John Winkler, that last point especially. And yes, if you could not tell from the title of this video, I have. You troll. But yes, I have seen the video, and hopefully the title makes it very clear, since it says Disneyland fight continues week of bad news for Disney. But apparently, for some reason, some people just can't take a hint for some strange, odd reason. But yes, obviously this is very bad news for them, and I think that this is just going to continue on forward. I mean, obviously, we've had the other news, the very serious news about the father of the child who tried to get a image of Spider-Man onto his son's tombstone, or gravestone, I should say, and they are not allowing it. Disney says, nope, you can't do it, even though Disney has allowed for it in the past, so it makes you ask the question, why? And now you have this fight taking place at Disneyland that went on for a good 3 to 5 minutes, and not a single security officer showed up during that time, and it wasn't until after that fact they showed up, and to make matters even worse, not a single person was arrested. Now, I know some people are trying to say, well, the security officers can only do so much under Disney. My question is, why doesn't Disney have some type of escort or some type of very close connection to the police officers so that they can take care of it? Especially when this was filmed by so many people. I highly doubt that no one said, oh, there's video evidence of this. So they probably knew there was video evidence of it, and yet they decided to let everyone go, and now the police are getting involved. Because now the video is public. Now the video is getting crazy amounts of views. And so now the police are getting involved because now it's a PR problem. And so it's interesting to me, and it's really bad on Disney's part, to basically have, if no one had filmed it, no one would have, unless you were actually there, no one would have talked about it. The police probably would never have gotten involved. But now that there's video evidence of it, and I think there's definitely an argument to be made, because obviously in the video that I made earlier today, I do stand by my point that I do wish that less people would be behind their, stuck behind their cameras and, actually trying to do something to help the people around them. But obviously, I think it is important, too, that we have people on the ground who are filming these things, because if no one films them, then at the end of the day, these things don't get covered, and at the end of the day, the police don't get called, and at the end of the day, these people, especially that guy in the red shirt, deserves to be arrested. He punched two women in the face. He was abusing and he was assaulting people, let alone 2 women in the process. And yet, when they let them go, they filed no charges. And the reason why, apparently, is because the people involved with the fight, neither side wanted to file any charges. And to me, I'm like, okay, that's all fine and dandy, because obviously someone can say, I don't want to file any charges. But at the end of the day, if there is a public fight going on in a Disney park, there needs to be repercussions. Like, no one told us, oh yeah, they've been banned for life from that park, or anything to that effect. and no one's talking about the kids that were around them. I mean, this is a Disney park. This is a kid park. We're talking about, oh, kids movies, Disney movies. Why do you care so much about the Disney movies? And yet those same asshats in the comments of my videos recently are the same ones that are going to probably defend Disney here because obviously they are in the tank for Disney, which is ridiculous and downright stupid. Bomber de Hubbit says, I hate Disneyland Brawl video because it brings the racists out of the closet. Well, I will agree with you there, for sure. There are a lot of racists that have been making some comments. A couple of them have actually made comments on my video, on my tweet, and there was one tweet I actually had to report because I was like, no. Again, I'm all for free speech, and I'm all for speaking a certain way, but there are certain things and ways you say them that can get really, really bad. And so, yeah, it's really sad to see that happen. But also, too, and again, I'm not attacking any person that made a video. I mean, obviously, I respect all the people that have made videos about this topic. I just personally, myself, don't find it, especially now that I've seen the entire video for myself, don't really find it to be that funny because I'm looking around and I'm thinking, oh my God, there's kids there who are bearing witness to this. There are kids who probably could have gotten, hurt in this process because these guys fighting, they don't care. They don't give a damn about the safety of anyone around them. And so it could have turned into a very ugly situation. And as I mentioned in my video, when it took that much time for, official security officers to show up, I mean, someone in the comments made a point saying, I wonder if someone was having a medical emergency. Would it have taken them that long too? That's a great question. That's a great point. Would it have taken them that long? Or would someone have actually stepped in because that one is a little bit different? I think that this should also be taken with a similar amount of seriousness as well, seeing that there are kids that are being present there witnessing and bearing witness to this nonsense. And yeah, it's crazy. And so you have that, you have everything going on with the gravestones still. And it's just not been a good week for Disney. Disney looks awful. This is a terrible PR statement and terrible PR week for Disney. And at the end of the day, this just continues to remind me why I want to boycott them. And everyone's like, why you have to go as far as saying a boycott? That's very hard. There's a giant company. And I understand that. And that's why it's my own personal choice. I'm not going to try to, guilt trip any person into boycotting something. Obviously, it's your money. You can do everything you want. You're your own person. You make whatever choices that you want to make. But at the same time, too, I do think it's important for us to make clear that the reason why I myself am calling for a boycott of Disney is because they're not going to do anything any other way. They're not going to change on their own. They're not going to learn from any of this. Until we actually start to hurt them financially, which is what a boycott is calling for, what I'm asking for, what I'm calling for, until that happens, and unless it's a grand enough scale, which is why I'm trying to get as many people as possible on board, it's not going to be felt. That's the same reason why I've turned off Super Chats. I can't make anyone else turn off their Super Chats, but if everyone else, especially the big YouTubers in our community, turn off their Super Chats and instead put people towards Streamlabs, etc., so that way we can still continue to get donations from people, it would also at the same time be all that hundreds of thousands every single month that would not be going to YouTube, and YouTube would start to feel that. But again, until people start to actually act and come together, there's not going to be any difference. There's not going to be anything that's going to be done about it. And the same thing here works with Disney as well. And that's why I'm calling personally for I'm calling myself and calling everyone else that supports me. And really, honestly, that's why I'm trying to expose all this nonsense. I'm trying to expose all this crap because Disney is without heart. Disney is without a moral compass. And it's time for us to start stepping up and start to speak out against it. And it's us to try, and it's up to us now to keep hold of our wallets and to keep hold of our dollars in the process too. Tina says, not a problem. Thank you so much, Tina. You're so amazing. Asparthy says, I'm watching The Predator right now. Oh, man, Alex McCarthy is on a Predator kick right now. What is going on? Also, I saw Laura's name in the chat. Laura, I am sending out you and, was it J-Rod, the beer guru? No, he won something. Yeah, no, it was J-Rod the Beer Guru. I'm sending out y'all's copies of Whiplash tomorrow because of everything going on today. I was waiting on shipping envelopes. I ran out of shipping envelopes, so those just came in today. And so I'll be able to take care of that tomorrow. So those will get to you sometime over the next week. GMungus76 says, hello, Odin, and Disney sucks. Agreed. Disney absolutely sucks. Oscar Garth says, I am watching The Predator right now. All right, I got that one already. Bjorn says, hi, and burn in hell, Disney. Ooh, those are some harsh words right there. Drunk 3PO dropping the $5 donation. Thank you very much. You see, guys, super chats are off, but you can still get your name popping up and everything like that. And of course, I will shout you out. Drunk 3PO, thank you so much. He is a great YouTube channel. Please go check him out. He is my boy, my brethren. He is the person that constantly gets demonetized by YouTube for no reason whatsoever. And for some reason, every single time I tweet at them, all of a sudden the issue is fixed. I'm pretty sure it's been coincidence the both times that's happened, but still, YouTube, you suck. You can go ahead and demonetize this video, because you probably are going to do that anyway, and you suck. And Drunk 3PO is a good enough guy where you shouldn't be doing that to him, because guess what? He is putting his money, all the money that he's earning into something really productive. He's doing it to help kids. And you are cutting that off and lessening what he can do and what he can put in to help those kids by demonetizing him. So YouTube, you suck. Disney, you suck. And it's time for us to start boycotting these companies. Drunk 3PO says, thanks for all the support you have given me this week. Drunk 3PO, no problem at all, man. Like, as I said before, I love your channel. I love your work. And hey, I got your back. Plus, nobody rocks that Blue Snowball mic like you do. And in fact, I might actually be replacing my Blue Snowball mic within the next couple weeks or so, because I kind of want to get a better audio setup. And I've been kind of on a YouTube, I've been addicted to YouTube videos looking into audio. So I'm looking into getting an audio interface and getting an official XLR mic. Because if there's one thing I care about most, it's sound. And I've listened back to some of the episodes, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, the sound's fine, but it could be so much better. John Wiggler says, an Allfather is never late. Is never late, nor is he early. Yes. Soul Assassin says, went to Best Buy after the morning stream to get the Predator 4K, and it was the last one, while plenty of Captain Marvels are still collecting dust. Damn right, Soul Assassin. So Soul Assassin was with us on the Welcome to Asgard channel, where we were watching Predator 2. It was my first time watching it, and so he went out to go buy the 4K Blu-ray of the Predator, which is the newest one that came out on 4K, and oh man, that's great. And of course they are. Of course they're still collecting dust, because nobody wants it. Nobody wants that 4K edition. No one is collecting it. See, here's the thing. Very few people, in comparison to, the amount of Blu-rays and DVDs sold, very few people actually go out of their way to buy a 4K edition of a movie, because there is still a lot of debate as to whether or not it's really any good. And there are plenty of arguments that can be made that many 4K editions are no better than their 1080p counterparts on Blu-ray, because sometimes, a lot of the time actually, because Hollywood still uses 2K as a standard, especially for visual effects, a lot of times these movies get mastered down to 2K anyway, which is, again, a 1080p Blu-ray, for example. And so you're not really gaining anything with it. You're just getting an upscaled image, which isn't adding any extra quality to it. So that's why I always recommend, there's a great website where it's like 4K fake and 4K not. It talks about real 4K and fake 4K. It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, so you already have that going against it. And not only that, but it's also a terrible movie, Captain Marvel. And so why would anyone want to buy it at this point? And that is also, once again, we can talk about the cultural impact of Disney. We can talk about, of course, this fight that happened that went on way too long before any Disney involvement actually took place. The fact that they didn't want anyone to know about it and did not do anything about it until all of a sudden became a viral video. And now they're going to call the police. Now they're going to actually try and give a damn about it. Of course, we know they really don't. It's all about trying to fix that PR image. And then also we look to the fact that they are keeping away a father from doing something for his son, even after death, doing something for his son, to try and, bring some joy and some closure to their own lives at this point. And they're keeping that from happening, even though they've allowed it in other circumstances, which, again, is just an odd thing. And then someone made a point that, maybe there's a Stan Lee connection. I was thinking about it. You know what? Stan Lee was alive for a lot of these other cases that people are bringing up. But now that Stan Lee is gone, maybe that was the reason why they ended up putting these images on other gravestones and other grave sites for a lot of these other kids. Maybe there's a difference between them. I don't know. But again, I think there could easily be an argument that a correlation can be made. Bruce says, can't wait till you watch Tank Girl. Yeah, so he also sent me Tank Girl on Blu-ray as well. Yeah, I mean, that one just looks so weird. Every time I look at the cover, I'm like, man, this is a unique version. This is a unique movie cover. John Wingler says, he arrived precisely when he meant to. Damn right. Senate says, so how about that Disney fight, bro? Oh my God, Senate, stop it. Tina says, I think Disney's main priority at the time was covering their asses to pretend it never happened. Once the video went viral, they had to cover it up even more. Tina, you're absolutely right. And that's why I think, honestly, a lot of the tech companies are in Disney's, not like necessarily Disney's pocket at this point, but definitely on Disney's side. And the way that I can talk about that with any sense of, I guess, credibility is go ahead and try and find on Twitter a trending now with Disney fight. You won't have found it. Like, it was not on the trending page yesterday that I could see, at least. Maybe I could be wrong on that. And it wasn't trending today. And yet, so many people have been tweeting about it, have been talking about it. So Twitter is kind of being complicit in trying to keep this hush-hush as much as possible. It's not allowing it to be trending, officially trending on their public page. YouTube also, when I uploaded the video today talking about it, and I've noticed with other videos too, is limiting the amount of people that can watch it. It's not letting, it's basically, they must have put something in the algorithm that says, anytime this topic's being brought up, we're going to try and bring it down as much as we possibly can. So these companies are all coming in together to try and help each other. And you start to wonder, why is it that I'm calling for people to go over to BitChute? Why am I calling for people to start to boycott Disney and start to support other movies instead, to, maybe get a Fire Stick TV, allegedly, using a VPN or something to watch something. I mean, could it be that these companies are all in it together and that they're all a bunch of asshats? I think that is a very clear statement to be made, and I will continue to try and send it as much as I possibly can. Rosetta Allen says, "Are you as amused by the Captain Marvel picks I sent you?" Yes. So Rosetta Allen also went to Best Buy last night, and she showed me her own local Best Buy, and it was filled to the brim with Captain Marvel Blu-rays, 4Ks, and Steelbooks. Yes, there are still Steelbooks available, and now this has been confirmation for me that all across the country, this phenomenon has taken place. No one is buying it. That means collectors are not buying it. Collectors go out of their way to buy these Steelbook editions because oftentimes they either will sell them for a higher price later on when they're no longer available, or they'll have it for their own personal collection. But many people are not going out now to buy them, and I think that is a very important thing. That is a very clear sign that Disney's Captain Marvel is not as popular as many people try to pretend that it is. Do people like it? Sure. There's people that like any movie that ever comes out, even R.I.P.D., even Fanforstic. There are fans of those movies. They exist. There's a very big country we live in. It's a very big world that we live in. And when you have millions upon millions and billions of people, there's always going to be at least a group that is going to like a particular film. That would also be including Captain Marvel, even though obviously many of us don't really understand why that is the case. Also, we got some people over on DLive. Mr. Roy is very, very excited posting that GIF. The K-Man says, as stated, it will be hard to not give Disney money because they own so much, but we should do all we can to minimize their profit. Exactly right, K-Man, and I think that is the best way to approach it. Is there a way to possibly completely boycott it? Sure. Obviously, there's some people that will be able to do it much easier than others. But for some, it's going to be hard. Let's say that you're a huge sports fan. ESPN is owned by Disney. Do you stop watching ESPN? Obviously, some people would try and say, well, this is kind of the only way that I'm able to find highlights, etc. Or there are various other companies that are owned by them. As I've mentioned before, they own the distribution rights now to Alita Battle Angel. So we're kind of caught in this, rock and a hard place. Do we buy the Blu-rays and the 4Ks for Alita Battle Angel, knowing that much of that is going to go back to Disney? Because they own the right to Disney now. So any money that we pay for that Blu-ray and 4K and the collector's edition, Disney's going to get a cut of that money. And so we kind of have to figure out, do we want to support the film because we want a sequel versus do we want to show Disney that we hate them, that we're tired of their crap? And so we're kind of stuck in this in between. But that's why we all have to make different decisions, and that's why we all have to be, making up our own minds. Again, that's why we all have to make up our own minds on this. The Sanctum, thank you so much for the ice cream, dude. Kim Camp Park, thank you for the ice cream as well. Sanctum, thank you also for another ice cream. And please make sure those ice cream that you send me are not licked, because that would be awful. But thank you very much, man. And yes, you are correct. Disney does suck. And thank you for those 2 lemons. I really do appreciate it. All right, back over to my YouTube peeps. Says, so did you see the fight, says Slash of Neons? Oh, you're so funny. Oh, y'all are so funny. Asking me that same question 1,000 different times. Smooth Jam California says, Toontown's a rough neighborhood. Hashtag Battle of Toontown. Oh, too soon. John Winkler says, I don't think Disney wanted the publicity of having another black man arrested. Just saying, John Winkler, I don't think you're wrong. And I mentioned this in my video. Had that person been like a white supremacist or had been anything else that is totally fine for people to go after in the media, it would have been a national story. It would have been a national story. CNN would have picked it up, and they would have said, oh my God, we're living in Trump's America, and oh my God, can you believe all this? That's what they would have done. Because we know that there is bias that exists in the media. We know the political ideology of some of these giant corporations like Disney. And so we know that was definitely a part of their discussion. I guarantee it. When they were determining what they were going to do with that situation, that was a determining factor. And anyone that says that it's not is living in a state of ignorance, and I wish that I could be as ignorant as you, but I cannot. Tina says, I'm shocked Disney didn't have their employees running around seizing cell phones. I know, seriously, I'm surprised too. I'm surprised they didn't try and say, oh, you can't film in Disneyland, but obviously that would create even more issues, and actually that would make it look even worse for them. John Early says, I wanted to hear you talk about Ben Affleck's career post Daredevil and Geely, and this is a career post Batman, Live by Night, and Justice League. Well, I did mention it a little bit earlier, John Early, and all I can really say about it is this, that I think that Ben Affleck is someone that obviously has a lot of talent. We know the incredible work he was able to do on those series of films. I think Gone Baby Gone is probably his best film that he directed, and I think that he'll be able to pick himself back up again. The question is how quickly, and obviously he's dealing with a lot of personal issues with substance abuse and everything, so I'm caring more about him getting well before he jumps back into anything. Because obviously, even if I don't agree with him, and even though I think that he's politically an idiot, I think that at the end of the day, he's a person still, and I, hope all for the best for him. Cupcake Geek says, hey, Odin, what's up, Cupcake Geek? How's it going? John Gleer says, Odin, you've probably mentioned it before, but what breeds are your dogs? So Willow, who is my chair pup, she's always in the chair and she's always very cute. She is a German Shepherd mix. So she's German Shepherd Beagle, and she definitely looks, you can tell that she's got some German Shepherd in her, but if you look closely, you can tell that she's got some Beagle in her as well. While my black dog, River, oh my gosh, you can't say that. I mean, that's the color of her fur, you racist. So my black dog, River, she, on the other hand, she is an Australian Shepherd mix, and we think she's also a lab. Like, we think she's a lab Australian Shepherd mix, because on her official birth certificate, it says Basset Hound, and we know that's not true. So what we think happened was that River had multiple dads, because that can actually happen in a dog litter, which I did not know could happen, but apparently it can. And so we think that she is a lab as well. Let's see. Film Professor, thank you very much for the ice cream, man. Appreciate it. Film Professor says, I guess Disney just doesn't give a flying falafel about any PR. Filmy Professor, I love that expression. They don't give a flying falafel. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And yes, that is so true. And the K-Man, thank you for those 2 ice creams. Please let them not be licked. Please let them not be licked. And King Ken Park also sent me an ice cream as well. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. What's up, Ziners to Creative? What's going on? Laura, Ryan stole my fan fiction story, says, just join. Sorry if this has been said. Security guards can't touch customers' security theater. No, Laura, and that has been talked about, and that's why I said before, I don't believe that Disney does not have actual guards or actual police staff close by, or at least on park grounds. I don't buy that for a second, because so what that means is that if someone is beating up someone, they can't pull them off. I don't buy that for a second. I really don't. I really don't. Are you saying that someone can just run away from a guard and they can't do anything? There's got to be, obviously, I think that there is a difference between a Disney guard and maybe an officer, but I don't believe for a second that there aren't any police officers, or at least those who have similar authority of a police officer, that are not held to that same standard that some of the Disney guards might be. I just don't buy that. I really don't. I don't see how that could possibly work. I don't see how you could possibly, and obviously you could make the argument saying, well, that's the reason why this happened, was because they can't, and this is showing you why it doesn't work. And if that is the case, then good. Disney has been exposed as not protecting their staff, not protecting their staff, not protecting their customers, and even more reason why we should just flat out boycott them. Grandmaster Yoda says, I truly think Alita will sell better on Blu-ray than Captain SJW, because I don't see any reason for anyone will buy the normal Blu-ray if they don't get the steel cover sold. Yeah, I think that is a good point. I do think that, and that's why I can't wait for the numbers to come out, not just for Captain Marvel, but especially for Alita. Not only because it's going to tell us a little bit more about how much money Alita is going to make post-release, which tells us a little bit more about how close it's going to get to breaking even, because in the theatrical run, it did not break even. But I had said from the beginning, it just needs to make another $25-30 million or so to break even, and it's in its Blu-ray run. And so I'm hoping that it's able to, and I think it will. The very fact that Best Buy is sold out of steelbooks in most major cities at this point is pretty much a sign that that is indeed the case. Now, you can still get it in some stores, actually, but usually you have to go like hundreds of miles away from where you are, which is just insane when you think about it. And as far as it doing better than Captain Marvel, as far as total sales go, that is really going to be a tough thing to be able to gauge. And the reason why is because even though Captain Marvel doesn't have the same passion behind it, it also has probably 10 times as many copies that are going to be available out there, which means there's going to be that many more that are going to not be sold, are going to be sold for like $5 on Black Friday. Very cheap. People are eventually going to want to get those out of their inventory, and they're going to be very cheap. But that being said, because there are so many of them, and because in reality it doesn't really cost all that much to put a Blu-ray disc or even a 4K disc together, at the end of the day, there's still potential that they could end up beating as far as total units sold and also as total profit made, just by the very fact that the volume of copies that they have is going to be so much more than Alita. I don't like that at all, and I don't think that's going to be a very good indication as to how well Alita did versus Captain Marvel, but it is something that we do need to talk about. And I think that is something, that's why I say all the time, I don't ever want to say anything that is incorrect. That's why sometimes when I make mistakes, you guys call me out on it, and I say, mea culpa, again. I'm a human person, and I make mistakes too, but I try to give you all the most accurate information as possible. Even if I don't like it, I don't try to spin anything for you guys. Let's see here. The K-Man, thank you for dropping that diamond donation over on D-Live. I appreciate that very much. He says, have errands to run, but wanted to stop long enough to show some support. Everyone have a great day. Well, thank you very much, the K-Man. You were awesome. And again, I know this is an early stream, and I really do appreciate that. The Sanctum, thank you so much for the ice cream. Hopefully it is unlicked. Please, God, let it be unlicked. Film Professor also says, I would just buy it for Rosa Salazar. My next crush after Gal Gadot. Well, I would say that both are lovely people. Not just like looks, but they're also just lovely people. If you really want to see the good side of Hollywood, look at interviews with them in it, and you'll think to yourself, oh, wow. Hollywood isn't just full of a bunch of stuck-up, pompous asshats who are constantly obsessed with political speak. They are, seriously, watch some of their interviews. It'll change your mind, at least a little bit. Smooth Jam California says, did you see Rocket Man? I heard it was a shameless ripoff of Bohemian Rhapsody with HBO-level sex scenes. I did not. The reason why I know that's not true is because they were already filming Rocket Man during the time in which Bohemian Rhapsody was being filmed too. So it's not, you can't say it's a ripoff. They came out so close to each other, it's just impossible to say as much. They're very similar, obviously. They're very similar in their tone. That being said, I did not see it, and one of the reasons why I just didn't really feel the need to see it is because I heard there was a lot of explicit sex scenes in there, which is something Bohemian Rhapsody didn't really have, and that's why I appreciated it that much more, is because it focused on him as a person and not just one part of his personality. And that was the one thing that I, again, loved about Bohemian Rhapsody versus that film. Tina says, there is no way in hell I would have jumped into that brawl. One of them might have been armed. I have no idea if Disney has metal detectors. I believe that they do, but you're absolutely right. And I think that not everyone is going to be able or willing to be able to jump into that kind of thing to try and push people out. But I will say this much. Thank God there were people to step in. Since Disney guards apparently can't touch anybody, can't step in, because apparently they have no police on staff or no police that are even on the damn park grounds. Thank God for that, because if those people didn't exist, guess what? They could just continue to go and it would never end, and then it could have gotten even worse. Someone could have died. And I made this point in my video. Someone could have been choked out. And the amount of time that it took for actual official security to show up, someone could have been choked out. And if it is really true that Disney staff and Disney guards legally cannot do anything, so that means if someone is choking somebody out on the ground, they can't do anything to stop it. I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second. And that's the reason why it's just that much more disturbing, because this fight was happening for a long enough time for someone who have been killed in the process. And I think it's completely irresponsible of Disney to have allowed that to happen in such a way. Jake75, what's going on, man? Tina says, yeah, others are right. It was domestic violence. With the video evidence, charges will be filed no matter what those women want. Good, because it should be. Not only that, but it's also reckless endangerment in some ways, because at the end of the day, it is a crowd full of people. And obviously it's not as crowded as Disney may have wanted it to be, but it's still a crowd full of people, and innocent people could have been hurt in the crossfire as well, even if it's a physical bout. Michael Wood says, how was Airplane, my lord? Dude, Airplane was hilarious. So we got some really bad news last night. The house that we really wanted in Chattanooga has been sold, or rather has been leased, and so is no longer on the market. So we're very upset because it was kind of like our dream house scenario, and so now we're basically in the position where we're going to probably rent, and we have to, therefore, we're probably going to have to rent or lease our house too. Not the position we wanted to be in, because obviously we wanted that extra cash from a sale to be able to put a down payment on our house, but that's not happening now at this point. So Freya was not in a good mood last night, and as you know, obviously she shouldn't have been, because obviously we're heartbroken, her more so than I am, but both of us are heartbroken in a lot of ways, because we really thought things were starting to come together, but now it's just more work for us in the long run, especially when it comes to moving our stuff. But at the end of the day, we'll be fine. Obviously we'll probably have to do a mutual thing where we have our house leased for 6 months. We're going to try and get a lease for 6 months, so that way eventually when we close, because we're going to do a lease to buy, because there's someone who's interested who wants to do a lease to buy option. And so what we're hoping is that does not fall through, because that's a big risk with it. If it falls through, they can break the lease and get a small penalty, but we're going to be the ones that are left over, with the entire mortgage and everything. So if that thing works out and we're able to finish the sale, get enough money to put a down payment on an actual house. But both of us are kind of upset with it, because I know that I just hate the concept of moving in general. I've always been a very much a home-bodied person, and now knowing that I'll have to move just to move 6 months later obviously has got me a little upset. But because Freya was not happy last night, I was like, this is the more reason why we probably should watch Airplane. And as soon as the credits started, she says, I'm really glad that we did this because of just how hilarious the film is. And it was so funny. It really was. And it was just so random in its humor. And it's not for everybody. I can tell you that right now. Not every person is going to like that movie, because it is stupid, stupid humor. But I found it pretty funny. Micah Martinez says, I swear for your last couple of videos, there has been so many Disney bots defending all these stupid decisions. This has been a horrible week for Disney. They are so incompetent. That doesn't surprise me either. Not to mention, the last, 3 of the last videos that I've made have been rejected. So I have done videos. So I've talked about this site before, hideout.tv. I'm like 99% sure that I'm going to be leaving their platform because I basically gave them an ultimatum. And I said, all right, this is the 3rd video that they have said is not appropriate for their channel. So they're censoring my videos. But they don't tell me, and apparently legally they supposedly can't tell me why a video is rejected. And I said, that's BS. You can't just say, oh, you have to play by our rules, but we can't tell you what those rules are. And so I looked at the only rules that they had available. I went down the list of all their do's and don'ts. And on their don'ts, the only thing I can see that they will try to argue is that my videos contain hate speech. Yes, hate speech. And so apparently they're censoring my videos. And so I sent them a response saying, all right, I looked through your rules, and the only thing you have listed that could possibly be a reason why you are not approving these videos is because you think, or your staff thinks, that these videos constitute so-called hate speech. And if that is indeed the truth, please tell me, and I will be leaving your platform. If it is not hate speech, then there is nothing else there because there's no pornography, there's no cursing, none of the other things. I don't check off any of those other boxes on the don'ts list. And so if that is not the case, well, guess what? I'm packing up. I'm leaving. Please, close my accounts, and I'll just move on to another site. But man, oh man, it has been, God. And you know what? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing it because they don't want to cross Disney. That would probably make the most sense to me. They don't want videos out there on their channel that go after Disney, and they don't want to be responsible. And I think that's cowardice on their part. John Winkler says, Odin, I can be your troll if you'd like to. John Winkler, go right ahead. Sharon Ferguson, what's going on? Says, or anyone else who has the answer, is the person in the wheelchair okay? I don't know. Nothing that I saw in the article really pointed out to that. I assume everyone is fine for the most part, based on the fact that no one was said to have gone to the hospital or anything. But again, Disney did not want any information out, and so kind of a lot of that information has kind of been suppressed, except for the people that were witnesses to it and people that were in the actual video and posted the actual videos. No one else is really talking at this point because Disney does not want this to be out in public. But guess what, guys? Someone got into a fight at a Disney park, and Disney did nothing for almost a solid 5 minutes. Imagine if you had a medical emergency and it took 5 minutes for someone to get to you. Imagine if someone was killing somebody, choking them to death, and it took 5 minutes for somebody to get to them. Imagine those things. Disney does not care about their employees. They don't care about their guests. They don't care about anything except their own bottom line and about their own political activation. Activism. Let's see. Sanctum, thank you again for that ice cream, man. I really do appreciate it. Larry 2001, thank you so much for the ice cream and the lemon. And Ziner Creative, thank you so much for the lemon, man. I really do appreciate it. Sanctum says, do you think the lack of guards might be due to rumors that Disney is laying off seasonal cast members and staff? I don't think so, because that announcement of them about laying people off is that they're about to lay people off. And so this obviously took place before that, or at least at the same time, way too soon from that announcement from them to actually have cut staff. But it could be. It very well could be. Obviously, I'm not a Disney expert, but it seems to be the case that there were not enough people around because, again, it took them a good solid 5 minutes to actually get to the scene to do anything about it. D-Live Dingus, what's going on, bruv? How is it going? Thank you very much for the follow. King Cam Park says, were you able to catch part 2 on Amazon? Coincidence, Tank Girl was just added to Amazon. Well, that is awesome. And no, because last night we were only able to get through the first movie, but we're going to try and watch the second movie together at some point this week. And I can tell you this much. The reason why the stream is early today is because there's something that I have to do at 6. I have a friend that's singing in a competition, and so I want to go to support her. And then I have, obviously, I want to spend time with my wife when she gets home as well. Drunk 3PO says, Odin, thanks for sticking up for me this week. That means a lot. Hey, Drunk 3PO, I got your back, dude. Thank you. CA Production says, coming to you another stream. What's up, CAF Productions? Aspergarly says, the only fights I like to happen on Monday and Tuesday this Sunday. Other than that, I don't condone fights except for certain circumstances. But that fight at Disney seemed uncalled for. It did. And someone could have seriously gotten hurt. And I think Disney needs to be taken into some. I think Disney needs to take on some responsibility for what happened, for what they essentially allowed to happen and didn't do anything about. And if they legally can't do anything about it, that's even worse. Super Anime Gamer, hey, what's up, my dude? What's going on? So the chat did jump till 2:16. I am already behind in the chat, of course. So if you posted anything between the last comment and Super Anime's comment at 2:16, you might need to post it again. Might need to. Sweet Jam California says, bring me Thanos. Yes. Sharon Ferguson says, have you checked out Parler for a Twitter replacement? I'm using Gab as a Twitter replacement, but Gab just is not really picking up much steam from what I can tell. CT says, had it been a white man that did that, the MSM would never shut up about it. Oh no, they wouldn't. They would not have shut out about it. It would have been a national story. It would have been nationally covered in CNN, and as I said, they would have talked nonstop about how this is Trump's America, and they would have done something like that. But of course, they're not going to touch it now, and it's really sad because any person fighting, regardless of their race, gender, does not matter. If there is a fight that happens that takes 5 minutes for Disney to break up, that is the story. That alone is a big enough story for you to cover. But they're not going to because they're probably either owned by Disney or they're in a good, cozy relationship with Disney and they don't want to go after them. Or at the very least, they agree with everything that they say. Alice McCarthy says, Jake Busey, son of Gary, is in The Predator. Is he really? I don't think I ever realized that. Super says, in addition to Stan Lee still being alive, didn't a lot of these cases with characters being put on gravestones pre-2009 before Disney got Marvel? I could be wrong. I know some of the cases are, but not all of them. So that's why I definitely think that there's something to talk about there. Hypern, what's going on, bruv? John Wingler says, my dad who took me to see American Pie 2 doesn't care for Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, but likes Twilight. How are we even related? Dude, John Winkler, your dad? How does your dad like Twilight, but doesn't like those classic? Oh my gosh. Man, oh man. I feel sorry for you, man. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, man. Tina says, well, welcome to the stream. My fellow Valkyrie is at work and can't be here, but if you have any questions, thank you very much, Tina. Yeah, so if you have any questions and you don't want to put Odin question for some reason, it'll pop up orange for me on YouTube if you do that. If you're on DLive, just put @Odin at the beginning of your comment, and I'll know you're trying to get my attention there. But on YouTube, Odin question, all one word. Or you can contact Tina, but she'll probably just tell you, oh, put it as Odin question. Alex McCarthy says, I liked R.I.P.D. Of course you did, Alex, because you like bad movies. CA Production says, don't mean to get off topic, but I just realized today that Toy Story 4 didn't have a short film at the beginning. Yeah, it's not the first time. It is not the first time that a Pixar film has not had one, because sometimes there just aren't any new short films available for them to put in the front or the beginning of it. But I would say that if we're talking about Toy Story 4, we could talk about just how bad it is, because it's so bad. It is so very bad. I just don't like it at all. Ziner Creative says, did you get the design I sent you in email? When did you send it? Ziner Creative, when did you send it? Because that may have been a long time ago. Because I don't remember. This could have been weeks ago, and my brain does not go back that far. Daniel Thorne, what's going on, dude? He says, with all the money in tentpole movies, remakes, and reboots, what hope do original movies have? Not much, sadly, is the fact. Take Disney, for example. Disney has 2 original films coming out over the next 5 years, and both of them are animated from Pixar. So, and a lot of times their Pixar films are based off of previous material. So it's really hard at this point in time to think about anything being truly original from Disney these days. And that's why the only thing that we can do to try and stop it is not complain about it, but is to actually put our money where their mouth is and stop supporting them. So when Lion King comes out in a couple weeks, or about a week and a half at this point, don't go see it. Don't buy tickets to it. If you have a Roku or rather more specifically a Fire Stick TV, you can allegedly use it to watch it that way. Allegedly, of course. But still, don't give them any money, because if you give them money, it will just continue to feed their machine and also make them believe and think that people actually want to see nothing but nonstop remakes and reboots. Metalhead Zaki says, Odin, on your earlier stream when I asked maybe dialogue-driven movies aren't your cup of tea, I was trying to get to know what your personal taste in movies are and not a personal attack. I didn't think it was, man, but obviously, as I mentioned, it's not that, because I do like dialogue-driven films. He says, also, just needed to clarify a misunderstanding because you got offended and took it personally when you got asked with the question. Well, yeah, because the way it was asked made it seem like, oh, this is the reason why you don't like the film. No, don't try and explain why I don't like something. I can tell you that something is not good. I can tell you clearly if something is objectively not good or what my subjective opinion is. I am usually good enough to be able to separate those two things, an objective standard and subjectively. I'm telling you right now, I don't even remember the movie that was being talked about at the time. It's not a good movie. It does not have good dialogue. And for you to say, oh, it's dialogue-driven films you don't like, no. I pointed out a clear director that uses dialogue in a lot of his movies, and I like those movies. So you may not have meant it as a personal attack, and I mean, if that was meant to be an apology, okay. But I'm just telling you how it was read, dude. Because if you're trying to explain my positions on things, no, just don't do it. Bruce says, it's odd Disney seems to own so much. I cannot believe the governor hasn't stepped in with a monopoly claim. Yeah, it's a great point. Honestly, to be fair, I think that we're probably going to start to get a lot more discussion about antitrust violations going on, because if there's any time in history that discussion needs to happen, it's now, after the Fox acquisition. John Wheeler says, Odin, I'll send you ice cream, but I think it will melt. Well, as long as it's not licked, I think I'll be okay. Zyna Creator says a couple weeks ago, yeah, you probably need to send it again. Sorry about that, man. Odinsmoodblog@gmail.com. Filming Professor says, I'm just hoping other studios make some original movies to push Disney out of this phase. Well, there are original movies that come out every single year, but nobody sees them. They're usually independent, they're smaller, and no one sees them because people would rather go see a crappy movie, and I still stand by this, that's a crappy movie like Endgame, and they would rather see that than see anything original. And that's the sad thing that we have in today's world, in today's movie world, is that people don't leave their house to see independent original stories. They would rather those movies just come out on Netflix or come out at home. And again, I understand the convenience of that. I totally understand that. But that's why the only way that anything's going to change is if we stop supporting these giant big budget films that suck. It's pretty much the only time that's ever going to finally get in through their thick skulls over at Disney, especially, that we are tired of their nonsense. Larry, so very much. Thank you so much for the lemon. And Sanctum, thank you so much for the 3 non-licked ice creams. I appreciate that very much. Film Professor says, it has happened earlier than other animation studios have made Disney work harder for every animation buck. Yeah, I mean, there are other great animation studios that have put out good work, but unfortunately, they don't get nearly as much money as the Disney animations do because they just have so much power. Let's see. Super says, though I totally support anyone doing a Disney boycott, I really think a full boycott borders on impossible. They own far too much in movies and television. Well, again, I guess it depends too. You know, by boycott, what I mean is don't go support their movies, don't give money to their movies, and I would even say don't give money to their theme parks, to be honest. And to be perfectly honest, even before all this stuff happened, I was already going to say that they're way overpriced. The fact that you're paying over $100 a day for Disney World, that is a ripoff. It is a complete ripoff. As someone who's a coaster junkie especially, they have no really truly great roller coasters in Disney World. I'm just going to be honest. They don't have any truly good roller coasters. They've got some fun rides. I can agree to that. They can have fun rides, but they don't have good roller coasters. So I'd much rather pay, like $7 a month to be a member of Six Flags and be able to go to any Six Flags in the nation with that amount. And when you do the math on that, it costs almost about as much every year for like a daily or even no more than 2 days at a park anyway. And I'm about to move to a place where I'm going to be like an hour and a half away from, finally I'll actually be close to a theme park. And it'll be a Six Flags. And so I can't wait to finally actually use it. The reason why I became a member in the first place was because I did a theme park trip a couple years ago, and it's still paying for itself. Disney doesn't do that. Disney, you have to pay up the wazoo for a crappy experience. And now they've already exposed themselves as not protecting you in the process. So why would you give them your money in the first place? But that's how we show them. We go to their big money makers, the theme parks, the movies, etc. We go to those and we say, nope, I'm done. TV, it's easy. Switch the channel. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. And I know there's a lot of parents out there who say, but I have kids and they love Disney films. Okay, well, the ones that you already own, perfect. You already own them. You're not giving them any more money in the process. If you want them to watch it, go ahead and let the kids watch it as much as they want. So what I mean is no more new money to these current products that are going on right now. I think it's a lot easier than you might think. CI Production says, take the Disneyland fight and dub Tommy Wiseau's voice over it. Mock, you're just a chicken. Cheap, 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 cheap. Ah, man. Sticky V says, if I were a part of a culture that keeps being pandered to, then and only then would I feel offended. How can people from those cultures not feel like being treated like babies? It's a great point. And a lot of people have been speaking out about it. I mean, go ahead and look to some of the videos that have been made in reaction to the Little Mermaid casting. There are a lot of people from various cultural backgrounds who have spoken out against it because they're like, this is obviously pandering and this is stupid. And it's so funny that, when someone like me or anyone else who has fair skin makes a comment on it, oh, boom, you're a racist. And then if someone else who might have darker skin than me says something about it, either they're ignored because they just don't want to go there, or even worse, they're called terrible names like Uncle Tom or many other things, actually called racist names in the comments. It's so crazy, the world that we live in today, where you just can't even have an original thought. Cynical Lindsay says, did you see that Friends will be moving from Netflix to Warner Media's new streaming service? It's also supposed to be getting a few CW and get this HBO shows too. Wait, what? Is that true? Warner Media streaming service is getting that? Damn. Netflix, I thought, just purchased the rights to Seinfeld. Or no, sorry, I'm thinking of Seinfeld. I'm not thinking of Friends. Well, to be fair, I don't like Friends in the first place, so that's not going to be enough to get me over to Warner Media streaming service. But hey, if they can be good competition and they can stay out of the political game like Netflix and Disney have been getting into, then I'd be willing to shut some services down and start up over there. Soul Assassin says the Predator 4K was the collection, not the recent one. Oh, the collection. Gotcha. But I agree, the picture is really good. Might have to start getting other movies in 4K now. And I would say, Soul Assassin, if you want to collect in 4K, I recommend it. Again, I'm a collector myself. You can't see my shelf right now because it's empty from packing. But there are certain movies that are called real 4K and others that are fake 4K. Now, if you want to be a collector like I am, and now I'm kind of in this position where I really want to start collecting more steelbooks because they're beautiful. Like, the art design in there is great and everything about it is great. It's a pretty decent deal, too, for what you get. But also, the case is a lot more sturdier than the plastic ones that you normally get with Blu-rays. And so, with that being the case, though, I need to start looking into to make sure that the movies that I'm getting are actually real 4K and not fake 4K. If you want to know the difference between the two, there's plenty of really great channels on YouTube that do it. I think, Tina, I sent a link to you guys not too long ago. So if you can find that link, great. If not, don't worry about it. But basically, the difference between the two, you can find out basically by going to IMDb and looking at the technical specifications of the movie. And if any point you see that in the filming process they use a 2K render of visual effects or anything, the movie that you're getting is not going to be in true 4K. Because most of Hollywood still uses 2K for their visual effects. The reason why is because imagine how much time it takes to render all the visual effects in a movie like Avengers Endgame. A long time. Imagine if they tried to master it in 4K. It would take even longer. It could take months longer. And as we know, in the movie business, you're going to try and get those things out as fast as possible. But yeah, man, go ahead and start collecting because there's some really cool 4K titles out there. Rosetta Allen says, not a single Captain Marvel disc had moved at all 4 days. None sold, more shifted on the shelf. I'm actually thinking of doing this myself, of going to my local Best Buy store and bringing like a flash card and putting it at a certain spot just to see. Because at that point, then what I could do is I could say, oh yeah, all those people are trying to say, because there's some people that honestly will go out of their way to defend it saying, oh, how do you know they just haven't restocked it? Well, I know it because there's other movies here that are missing or don't have any movies in their row. And if this was a good store that was keeping those things on stock, then those things would be filled to the brim. But instead, you have a completely full row of movies here that have not moved. So I'm thinking of doing that just to do like a test. Now, obviously, it's going to be harder for me to do that with everything going on over the next couple weeks. But I'm going to try to. And if I can get away with it, obviously I don't want to get in trouble either. If I'm like, hey, it's just a note card. It's just a note card. It's a blank note card. There's nothing on it. I'm not trying to do anything. It's mostly just a social test. But it'd be really cool to go back and be like, oh, look, it's still there. And guess what? That means no copies have sold. So if any of you want to think about doing the same thing, obviously if someone says, hey, you can't do that, respect them because it's their own private store. That's the only thing I can think about that's not going to do damage to anything, but it's also not going to cause any inconveniences either. So thinking of doing it with a flash card. So it says, Battle of Starcourt Toontown Edition, but anyways, how about that Disney fight? Good lord. Tina says, so what did you think of Predator 2? I haven't seen it in years. I thought it was hilarious. It's an 80s camp film. It's 80s camp. As long as you know that it's 80s camp, then it'll be fine. And Larry, 2001, thank you for the lemon, and Sanctum, thank you for the 3 ice cream. Film Professor says, it has happened earlier than... Okay, sorry, I got that already. Ziner says, resend it, you'll have a laugh. Okay. Maybe I did see it already. Let me see. All right, Instagram. Hamburger. I'm going to say, some of these are really good. These are really good. I like that a lot. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post that. I'm going to put that in the chat. So this is from Ziner Creative over on DLive, everybody. I like him. So that's his Instagram link. I'll have to take a look at. I'll take a further look at that after the stream. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I got it and I looked at it. I like it. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Film Professor says, what's your take on the new copyright system introduced by YouTube today of including timestamps to show exactly what is claimed? Oh, I did not know they did that, but I think that's much better. But that's only a step. Because for copyrighted material, it's normally pretty easy to tell what has been claimed. Normally it's music or it's an image, and so normally you can tell, oh, this is probably what got claimed. Now obviously I'm glad that they're finally starting to tell people what got claimed, but I think what's more important is that they have a system where they tell you why a video gets demonetized. That's what I want to know. For example, if there's an algorithm in place that picks up certain words, then if you already have it be automatic where a video can be automatically demonetized because the algorithm picked up something, then why can't you also at the same time have the algorithm tell you, oh, this is the word that the algorithm thinks it picked up? that is inappropriate or is not ad friendly. Then I think that they would be making progress. But at this point, they're not making any progress at all. And so I say still, YouTube sucks. YouTube sucks. Go over to BitChute instead. Sergeant Neon says, not to call out our hypocrisy, but if it was an Alita punching Captain Marvel in the face, we would have given a flying falafel, would we? No, we would have. Because again, if it was somebody who represented the park, or if it was someone who was a customer at the park, and that kind of a fight was going on in the park with kids around still, I would feel just the same exact way. So I would say that there's not hypocrisy there. Now, I think there are some people, the ones who are making very inappropriate comments about the people involved in the dispute, they might not be as vocal about it, but I mean, I don't like it because of the fact that it's a fight. John Early says, I believe you can still buy Disney films as long as you buy them gently used from a pawn shop or Goodwill store or something. That is true, also true to John Early. So what you can do is you can go to a used store, and obviously at that point, none of that money is going to Disney. Also, I would say eBay. None of that money is going to Disney either. So if there's certain things that you really have to own that you don't already own, that could be a way to go about it. And you can usually get some things for some pretty good prices. John Winkler says, Odin, I think I can defeat the crazies. I'm a man of Irish and German descent, but I'm also native and black. All I need is to say identify as a woman, and there's nothing they can do to me. Do it, John Winkler. Do it, man. Oh, man. Oh, that's great. John Wheeler also says, my ancestry is very weird, and it's a miracle I exist. Damn, sounds about right. Darth Morrill says, I love the John Wick movies, but I think they should do maximum 2 more and end it with Chapter 5. I agree. I think that there should be definitely an end in sight and a cap on those movies. And it's not that I don't want to see more. Obviously, I think that if they continue to do these films right, I could be saying, oh, I don't ever want this series to end. But at the same time, too, I do want them to move on to other projects. I do want them to do better content. So I would say do as many as you know you can do without the quality slipping. As soon as you think the quality might start slipping, that's when you end it. That's when you say, okay, we're going to finish this because we don't want to ruin anything. So that's why usually people do 3 movies. But if they want to do more, which they plan on doing at this point, that's fine. But if the quality is going to dip at all, that's when you should just end it right then and there. Because otherwise it could be very, very problematic in the first place. Larry, thank you so much for the lemon, man. I appreciate it. And let's see. Zyner says, thanks for the shout out, dude. I really appreciate it. Oh, crap. I just realized I didn't touch the image. It's all good, man. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know which image you're talking about, but I did get your Instagram page. There it is. The rise of getting woke. That's good. I like that. The rise of getting woke. Daniel Thorne just donated 3 lemons. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Zana Creative. Gotcha, man. It's all good. Larry 2001. Thank you again for the other lemon. I appreciate that. Getting so many lemons today. Feels great. Sliza Neon says, Disneyland is rumored to be laying off staff at their ghost town, while Disney World is hiring at Galaxy's Edge to prepare for big crowds. No self-awareness at all at Disney. Yeah, it's interesting that, they're building up security, or they're building up staff for a park that no one's going to, or at least not as many as they think they would go to, and then they're cutting staff at a place that's a ghost town but also just had a fight. Jeepers Turtle says, I saw the video and thought it was King's Dominion. Oh yeah, it did look a lot like it. Tina says, oh, sorry to hear about that house. It's all good, Tina. Again, it is what it is. There's always going to be, I'm sure there's another house that we're going to fall just as in love with as well. It's mostly just the not being able to just move in right away and to move our stuff up right away, and now having to think about getting long-term storage and getting a rental where none of the money that we put in is going towards anything. So that's, I think, what's the most frustrating part about all of it. Stevie says, sorry to hear about the favorite house being gone. That sucks, man. It's all good, man. Rosetta Allen says, sometimes it happens for a reason. The first house I tried to get fell through, and it flooded in 2008, and it was destroyed. Damn, okay, wow. Yeah, that is definitely something we're thinking about. Bruce says, airplane is food for the soul. Yes, indeed. Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive. Sharon Ferguson says, oh, the news about your house is upsetting. We kind of went through that ourselves when we bought our home, so sorry. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, we'll be okay. Obviously, and I really do appreciate, guys, the kind words, but, it's not like the worst thing that could ever happen to us in life. And, we have our health. We have jobs, so we'll be okay. We'll get through it. It's a convenience thing. So, but I wanted to share that with you guys because I know that a lot of you guys like to ask about where we are in that process and everything. Ninja Girl says, Ninja Girl 226 says, do you think that Disney might have cast Haley Bailey as Ariel because Ariel looks too much like Mira from Aquaman? They are both supposed to come out in 2021, 2022. I think that I'm sure that came up in the discussion group, I'm sure. But the real reason why is because they knew that casting would have caused a major controversy, would have caused discussions, and they wanted that to happen. Because guess what? Had they just cast a generic actress, unheard of person who happens to be white and has red hair, no one would be talking about that movie right now. Right? No one would be talking about it. No one would care. But because of the casting that they did, now everyone and their mom is still talking about that movie. So they did it because they knew it would make a splash. They're doing it because they knew it would win them woke points, and that is all they care about. John Winkler says, Odin, I've seen the inside of a Turkish prison, allegedly, of course. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? Alice Bergardly says, God works in mysterious ways. Maybe it wasn't the house you were meant to have, and that means a better house will come along. Stay strong, Odin. I'll pray for that. Well, thank you very much, Alex Bergardly. I appreciate it. And we think that's going to happen, too. My heart goes more out to my wife because I know that she was definitely hurt more by it than anything else. Snyder Creative says, did you notice the SJW I snuck into the design? I didn't. That's brilliant. Oh my God. Now, I'm sure there's some people who will look at that and say, oh yeah, I noticed that right away. I didn't. I just thought it said Star Wars, and so I just looked past it. But oh my God. Oh, that's great. Dude, that's awesome, Ziner. I appreciate that. And Film Your Professor, thank you very much for the ice cream, man. I appreciate it. Larry's like, I'm rich. I can tell, man. Next, you're going to bid the Ninja Genie or the Ninjet. Have yet to get a Ninjet. Have gotten several Ninja Genies, though. Cynical Lindsay says, you, a person who barely swears, gets slapped for hate speech. Oh, the irony. I know, seriously. I don't swear, and there's so many channels out there that swear, and I got slapped for hate speech, apparently. Bjorn says, hate speech is not a thing. That's commie propaganda. Grandmaster Yoda says, when a Japanese manga kid as Alita come from who know where do box office than Star Wars, Godzilla, and X-Men, you just know something's wrong with the films. All right, I didn't get that part of it. So when okay, I'm sorry, Grandmaster. You might have to post that again. Let's see. Laura says, the security guards at my wife's ER were not allowed to do anything but call police. The ER had to add a police office, but only on weekends. Damn, that's crazy. That's just so crazy, Laura. Sasha Neon says, ooh. Slice of Neon said something, and then the chat jumped on me. Let me see if I can find the comments. Boom. Yes, it didn't cut off anyone's chats. Perfect. Slice of Neon says, you seen that awesome Lucasland map? Star Wars Theory did a video on how awesome it could be. Thanks for not giving us what we want in Disney. Yeah, so I haven't seen that video, but I have seen videos talking about how the inspiration for the park, apparently, of what the main theme is, are unknown planets and unknown places and unknown characters. Why in the hell would you do that? Who wants to go to a park that has something that they've never heard of before? Like, seriously, they're stupid. Rosetta Allen says, let's be clear, Mel Brooks is stupid humor and it's gold. No, I think Mel Brooks is smart humor and it's good. I think that, no. Mel Brooks' humor is so much smarter than Airplanes. Airplanes is still funny. I do laugh at it. I think it's really great. But Mel Brooks' humor is so much smarter. Hyman says, I wish Joker existed to make Disney and all clowns embarrass themselves. Sharon Ferguson says, thank you for your answer. Yeah, it's horrific the way Disney is acting. I am down for the boycott. Damn right, Sharon. Glad to hear it. Mary's in the chat. Mary, what's going on, girl? Mary, there she is. She says, do we think this fight that was allowed to go on and on at Disney is a sign of things going downhill overall, or just having a woke moment? I think that everything's going down, to be honest. I mean, look at our culture and our society nowadays. Things aren't very good right now. There's a lot of really bad things going on. There's a lot of really bad people out there. So I would say that there's definitely a part of that, but I definitely think there's some wokeness to it because, again, as I said, this story would have been covered from head to toe had other people of other races been involved. I'm just going to be honest. Super says, Disney really is selfish. For example, a video just got made about a select group of employees who can't really afford to live because they only make about $10 an hour. So progressive. Yes, I know, right? Disney cares so much about their employees and their guests, they'll allow fights like this to happen and underpay them. Spotty Flash says, and also, I guarantee you that Disney is behind several politicians pushing for a standard $15 minimum wage. Okay, if you really believe that, Disney, and you're going to put your money behind certain politicians because of your wokeness, go ahead and just start doing it yourself. Oh, wait, you won't? That's right, because you know that if anyone were to actually push that legislation through, that people like you, companies like you, would probably get exemptions because of your friends working in Washington, right? Spy Flash says, saw Far From Home as a comic fan. I thought it was terrible. It was an Iron Man Jr. origin story with a Spider-Man skin. And again, I think that any person that is a hardcore comics fan, I understand why anyone would have issues with it, because a lot of the films now have fallen so far away from the comics that they're not going to be the comic characters that you remember. As someone that's not a comic fan, though, it's an enjoyable time. So I think that that's where there's going to be a major difference between people. Sharon Ferguson says, check out Parler. It has taken off, very busy, and Gab is far too permissive of the Vox Day types. There is an alt-right, and they've co-opted Gab. I've left Gab. Okay, got you. I've never heard of Parler before, but I guess I can check that out. Parler home. Platform, talk to us, user-driven platform, read news, speak free, control your experience. Cool. I'll have to check that out after the stream. Thank you for that recommendation. Appreciate that, Sharon. Sharon! Tina says, once you're done, I need to get back to sniffing glue because I picked a bad day to quit cocaine. I do get that now. I picked a bad day to quit cocaine. Alex McCarthy says, I like Twilight, blame my wife. Damn you, Alex McCarthy. Damn you. Darth Morrill says, I really like your 15-minute plus videos as you're able to go into depth on the topic you're talking about. Please keep up the good work. Darth Morrill, thank you so much. It's so funny because I feel like for every 3 people that say that, there's 25 people that say, I like the shorter videos. The biggest complaint I'm getting now is you talk too fast. I talk at the same speed every single time. What the hell? The Dr. 14 Blu-ray Reviews says, England versus USA Women's World Cup semifinal has highest peak audience of any TV show this year, with a peak audience of 11.73 million tuned to see England versus USA more than Line of Duty. Well, here's the thing, is that this year hasn't been a very good year for television. So that's not really saying all that much. Sasha Neon says, earthquakes, brawls, PR nightmares, ghost town attendance. Disneyland is having a terrible summer. I wouldn't have thought they deserved it a year ago, but they totally do. And I'm so glad that everything is going downhill for them because they don't deserve a dime of your hard-earned money. Just like Google does not deserve a dime of your hard-earned money, which is why I turn off super chats. And that's why I'm so glad. So people like, for example, Young Rippa, I actually finally got to be and watch one of his live streams, and he was just rocking it. And he is pushing people towards things like Streamlabs. And so I donated to him, and he was like, this is how you do it, guys. And I'm like, thank you. And he even said that for certain streams, he has turned off his super chats. And I'm like, yes, we need larger channels like Young Rippa and so many other people who are going to go, try and actually, get the word out there that YouTube takes 30% of every super chat you send. So as I said before, ask the channels that you watch and support, hey, do you have a PayPal link? Hey, do you have a Streamlabs link? So that way YouTube does not get a dime of your money if you don't want them to get your money. That's how you can help, boycott against them until we can finally, as I said before, if I could take all of my subscribers at this point and transfer us over to another service, I would. I would do it in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, that is just not the case at this time. That's why I'm starting to build up on other platforms. That's why I have a DLive presence at this point. Would love to build up that presence. That's why I still do things on Twitch. Twitch, to me, is always going to be hindered until it is able to say, okay, you can stream on multiple platforms at the same time. Until it allows that, I'm probably never going to be an exclusive Twitch person. And as soon as BitChute can finally, get some type of monetization going with ads or something, then at that point I'll be like, all right, cool, we're done. I'll put my last YouTube video up and say, all right, guys, this is where I'm gonna be. Come join me because I'm gonna leave it all behind. Because I would love to do that. I would love to, but of course, there's so many factors that have to go into play. Sharon Ferguson says, there's no accounting for people's taste, as in thinking RIPD is a bad movie. RIFD is a wait, what? What? Arizona Allen says, some people love bad movies, not enough to sell copies of Captain Marvel, though. That's true. Well, see, that's just a bad movie. There's some movies that are so bad they're funny and they're good. Not that one. Alice McCarthy says, for me, a movie can be enjoyable if the main actor or actress is one of my faves. Example, a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are meh, but I like them because of Arnold. Well, Alex McCarthy, we've had this talk on our movie streams in the mornings where there's so many of these 80s movies that aren't really that great as far as like an objective standpoint. Like the cinematography is not amazing. The acting isn't amazing. The writing isn't even necessarily amazing, but all the things work so well together that it's just freaking funny. It's just entertainment. And I think that there's definitely a difference between those two. And I think it's really cool to have and to know and to understand and to recognize the differences that it can exist, but also to be able to appreciate it nonetheless. Filming Professor, thank you for the ice cream, man. I really do appreciate that. King Park says, that fight wasn't that bad. I've worked at Waffle House, seen worse. Oh, trust me, I know, but at the same time, too, I do think that it's worth talking about what could have happened, because obviously now there's going to be more incentive for some people, because there are people out there that like to start crap of something similar to happen at that park or another park. Smart Fart. That's a great name. Smart Fart, thanks for the follow, man. Frank the Bunny, thank you for the ice cream donation. I appreciate the ice cream donation, man. Thank you so much. Bjorn says, which are the original content movies from Disney? I bet they aren't original. So there was just one that was recently announced. They haven't announced the other one yet. I don't remember the name of it, though. And yeah, I would not be surprised if it's not fully original. Hireman says, Studio Ghibli is owned by Disney, right? How bad do you think Disney is going to negatively impact the studio for their future ahead? Well, Studio Ghibli is also shut down. So Studio Ghibli is no longer actively making films. At least last time I checked, they've now, people that used to be a part of that studio have made their own studio. So I think it was actually Mary and the Witch's Flower was their first official release from this new studio, from the people that were attached to Studio Ghibli. So what happened was Disney didn't own Ghibli. Disney owned a certain aspect of distribution rights. And basically what that means is that Disney had exclusive rights to sell certain movies on Blu-ray, and I think it may have been in only certain countries. I don't think it was in every single country that they had the rights to do so. But basically, they were in charge of distribution. They were in charge of getting the movie into an actual physical format. So actually, I have several Studio Ghibli films that have Walt Disney Corporation on it, because at one point in time they were. They don't have that same relationship anymore, though. In fact, before Studio Ghibli shut down, it was the same thing. They had started a deal with somebody else instead. Sierra Production says, there are pictures of gravestones with Minnie Mouse, Tigger, Pooh Bear, Cinderella, Snow White, and even Mickey Mouse. Response, Disney? Again, that's a great point. What is it about this specific child and this specific father that you're going to say and make up that total crap lie, which is that we don't want our characters associated with death? Really? We can name countless, hundreds, if not thousands of Disney movies that have death as a part. Sharon Ferguson says, well, I'm glad I like Master and Commander. Now, if we could only get him to watch The Quick and the Dead, Russell Crowe. Never seen Quick and the Dead. I'm open to these things, though. And Vickery says, once Disney has rebooted theirs and Fox's back catalog, who do they buy next? DC. That's what I think. I think that if Disney is going to keep on growing and there's not going to be any antitrust lawsuits brought against them, I think the next thing they buy is either Warner Brothers outright or at least the rights to DC outright. Now, obviously, they would have to pay a crap ton of money for it, and I don't know if they're going to have that kind of money to spend, since they've driven their largest IP, or what used to be the largest IP, Star Wars, into the ground for $4 billion, and now they're driving the MCU into the ground. So I don't think they're going to have enough of that extra cash to be able to purchase anything else. But if they did, for any reason, if for some reason so many people without brains continue to mindlessly support this company, well, then at that point in time, I do think that there could be a chance that they could have enough money to buy something. And if they did, it'd probably be the rights to DC, to be perfectly honest. Imagine. It's a scary time. Darth Morrill says, with the fandom menace growing stronger every day, I can't wait to see the media make lies to defend Episode 9 underperforming at the box office. They already did. So fun fact, Scott Mendelsohn wrote an article maybe 4 or 5 months ago at this point, where it was explaining all the different movies that were coming out around the same time, and they were already making excuses as to why the film might not do as well. Yes. Go ahead and look it up for yourself. It should still be on Forbes.com. Bruce says, the one original movie that had chance to take Disney, Alita Battle Angel, is now a part of Disney. That's a great point, Bruce. And yeah, I mean, that's a tough thing that we're in. You know, as fans of Alita, we want to support Alita, but we don't want to support Disney. But yeah, I think that's definitely a good point, and I think that Disney is going to continue to try and buy up these great ideas, you know? Now, obviously, that's because they bought Fox, but Super says, is it really 100 a day? I've never been, so heck no. No, seriously, yeah. So it sometimes can be up to over, I think it's probably over at this point. There was one time when it was 100 a day. I think if you live in Florida, it's much cheaper because you get like this yearly pass if you are a Florida resident in Disney World, at least. I doubt they do something for California. They could. I could be wrong on that. Laura, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, it's ridiculous how much they charge. John Winkler says, Odin, you should check out Cedar Point in Ohio for your coaster fix. I've been there 3 times. Trust me. I know the beauty of Cedar Point, and I can't wait to go back because I'm going to go back at some point. My favorite roller coaster of all time, Millennium Force, is there. And they've got some other really awesome rides there, too. Metalhead Zaka says, what was the video that got labeled as hate speech about? So I had one video that was about the Little Mermaid casting. I had that was the first video that got rejected. And then there have been a couple other videos. I don't have them off the top of my head, but I know one of them talked about the Disney debacle with there were two videos, I think, that dealt with actually the Little Mermaid casting. And so I think those got denied because of that. And then I took a clip from the video the live stream we had last night, from 2 nights ago, that ended up becoming a video instead. And so that one got rejected as well. I'll have to look it up and see. In fact, let me go ahead and pull those up right now because those should still be listed, because even though they've been denied, it usually still has them listed and says they've been denied. Oop. At first I was like, oh, have they already deleted my channel? Because if they have, I've got a bone to pick with them, because they monetized me. And so right now I've earned $61.41, which is actually not bad, because it's a hell of a lot more than what I've been getting from YouTube. That's for damn sure. However, these recent things have kind of pissed me off. So yeah, Disney's Freeform goes after critics of Little Mermaid casting. They said that video was inappropriate. And then Disney race swaps Ariel and Little Mermaid casting, which if you actually watch the video, you know I talk more about Disney being out of original ideas than about the actual Little Mermaid casting. So interestingly enough, they thought that those videos were not were hate speech. Apparently they were hate speech. Sierra Productions says, what if Disney remakes their live action movies in animation? Enchanted in animation, here we come. God, you know that's what they're going to do next. Oh my gosh, yes. When all of their animated films have been remade into live action, they're going to do a swap of that. You're going to say, all right, now all the live action films we made are going to be reanimated. And then you know what they're going to do? Once they've done all of that, then they're going to reanimate their live action remakes of animated movies. Then we get to have a new animated version of Cinderella, a new animated version of Brave, a new animated version of The Little Mermaid, which will probably respect the new live action casting. Yep, that's the future. Dean High says, if you like roller coasters, go to Cedar Point. Already done it, man. Sandusky, Ohio. Bruv. Are you kidding me? I'm a coaster addict, dude. What do you think? That was on my bucket list, and I checked that thing off years ago. Rosetta Allen says the pandering offends me. It should. It should offend everybody. Bruce says, being relocated to Tennessee will put you more centrally located to so much more, maybe even making you up for a Kentucky Derby. You could stay with Tina. Oh, no, I've already planned, because I'm going to be so much closer to Tina, I'm going to be seeing Tina at some point. I would love to be able to, while I'm still down here, to go see Steph, but I don't know if I'm going to have the time in the next 2 weeks, but I would love to try and make that trip, because I would love to meet her. And obviously, I'll be so close, I will love to meet Tina as well. Super says, they're also taking back the U.S. office. The Warner Media streaming service is also supposed to be $15+. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. They need to offer a crap ton of things. And obviously, Warner Brothers has a crap ton in their library. Now, if that $15 gets you every single movie and television series they own, that could be a good deal. That could potentially be a good deal. Just like the Disney service is potentially a good deal. Now, whether or not I think that you should get it or not is a entirely different thing. Kim Camp Park says, what's your top Studio Ghibli film? Many people would probably say Spirited Away as far as an actual movie is concerned. My Neighbor Totoro is my favorite. And the reason why is because Totoro is so damn cute. He's so damn cute. I know, sometimes that can be shallow. Alice Garley says, Seinfeld is the best. My friends in college always called me the George Costanza of the group. I never got into it. My older brother loves Seinfeld. I never got into it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying the kind of comedy there, I just never got into. Now, maybe that I'm older, maybe I'll appreciate it a little bit more. So I might have to start to watch that at some point. Tina says, oh, I know the link of which you speak. I'll try and find it, says Tina. Great. 70B, oh, hi, Steph. How's it going? How's work? Bruce says, I might try that. Place a card, a few titles back up, and see if it's still there a couple days. And again, it's something that's being done where you're not, and again, make sure it's just blank. So you're not putting a message in there. You're not damaging any property. So I think that's something that actually they shouldn't have a problem with, especially if they don't know that it's there. You're not doing anything wrong. And that's the reason why I think that might be an interesting topic, an interesting research, essentially, into seeing how many Blu-rays and 4Ks are actually selling. Now, of course, many people in the comments will probably argue and complain and say, oh, no, but you could have easily gone in and done that. And it's like, oh, just stop. Someone already said, like, oh, how do we know that you didn't take Blu-rays from other parts of the store and put them in the same place? I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you really think that I would do that? That's why I show you the entire section. I showed the front and the back of the section to show that this is where all those movies are, and I didn't touch it, other than actually showing you what was actually there. Sazanian says, one part of Stranger Things Season 3 that surprised me was no Russians got eaten. I was expecting the Mind Flayer to chow on a few red commies. Yeah, well, apparently the Mind Flayer is a commie. Tina says, and stream, this should be the video as to why older movies look better in 4K. Thank you. Yes, so Tina at 2:53 posted a great YouTube video, and it explains why older movies look better in 4K. And the reason why is because older movies before 2000, because that's when the first digital films started to be filmed, are filmed on 35 millimeter. And when you have a 35 millimeter image, basically you have the ability to get a very high quality image from it. Now, obviously, it's going to, the size of the file, et cetera, are going to be different depending on how large the image you want to be is. But essentially, think about a 35 millimeter, which is a standard film reel, having the equivalent of 6K resolution. So you can get up to like 6K resolution. Now, imagine that a film is filmed mostly in 70 millimeter, like IMAX level. That it's like it's 12K. Something that we'll never be able to actually have, and is so large that no one in their right mind would ever want to put it onto a disc, let alone anything else. I mean, it would be impossible. But anyway, so think about that. So a 4K image transfer from an older film on 35 millimeter is so much easier and so much higher quality because of that very reason, compared to the newer films, which are shot digitally, which are mostly at a 2K standard or 1080p Blu-ray. That's why there's a huge difference between DVD and Blu-ray. It's like night and day. Anyone that tries to say there's no difference, no. It's like night and day. If you see it in the right television and you get the movie that you're supposed to, then it'll be clearly different. But no, it is a very interesting and fascinating video, and I recommend it. Hyman says, have you seen Chernobyl yet? I don't know if I should see it because of the high ratings. Is it really worth the hype? I haven't seen it yet because, and I know that many people have said, oh, I'll tell you when the stuff happens with the dogs. I don't like to watch shows where I know a dog's about to get hurt. Nigga says, glad I caught you, brother. Did you enjoy Airplane? Airplane was freaking hilarious, dude. Tina says, if you're watching Odin to see, thank you, Tina, for letting them know. Darth Morrill says, oh my God, while watching the stream, my cat has just come on the dead bird in its mouth. People call cats evil, but it is their natural habitat. A dog would do it. I love dogs as well. I mean, again, I have no personal issues with cats. I just think dogs are better because dogs, you can rub their belly. They show you love. You know exactly how they're feeling. Cats, you don't know what they feel. Now, I know there are some friendly cats out there where they're a lot more emotional, but that's why they're normally called dog cats, or they're normally called cats that act like dogs. That's just my own personal philosophy there. Somebody says, sorry about the home. It's all good, Steph. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. YouTube chat jumped on me, and I need to start wrapping things up so I can spend some time with the wife. So let's see. Where are we right now? Yes. Tina says, if you're wanting, thank you very much for letting them know how to do that. Cats are fun too. Alice McCarthy says, John Wick Chapter 40. John retires and uses his time to purchase a time machine to fix everything the woke culture ruined. Now that would be a perfect ending. 70B's, thank you very much for that. Tina says, do you like gladiator movies? John Winkler says, I have seen a grown man naked also, allegedly, of course. And I still don't care about The Little Mermaid. It bored me to death as a kid. And again, I liked it as a kid. John Early says, Jeremy Johns said the story of Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 broke him because now he expects every Spider-Man story to be that good. His words exactly in the Far From Home review. Yeah, I mean, that's why I do like Jeremy Johns, because he's normally able to give that kind of depth to his reviews. Nazmira Khatoon says, do you think the producers asked for a ginger as Ariel, but the casting director was dyslexic? I'm sure it's possible. Bruce says, what is it with this subversion of expectations that has gotten into Hollywood lately? Well, Disney in this case with The Little Mermaid. Honestly, I think it's because, and Gary has talked about this on the Nerdrotic channel, it has a lot to do with the fact that we're in a very progressive era. We're in this very hardcore SJW culture right now, and basically it always comes in waves, is what he's always noted. He says that, there's always been years and decades where it's more prominent and then it falls back, and so we're right now at the peak of it. And so he says, like, over the next 5 years, it'll probably start to fade away again and things will start to normalize. And I hope that's true. I honestly fear that we've gone so far past the point of no return. Rosetta Allen says, raindrops keep falling on my car. Grandma Ziota says, something is wrong with your film when you know something is wrong with your film when Alita that comes from nowhere does better than 40-year-olds IPs. Okay, I gotcha. And also, I see a lot of people leaving. Did someone just start streaming? Did Jeremy decide to start streaming? Because that's normally what happens. No, it was Jesse. Jesse's the one that decided to start streaming. Thanks, Jesse. Lord. Thanks, Jesse. I appreciate that so much. And I love Lisa so much. Let's see. Hiram says, in your opinion, how do you think the horror genre should be ideally defined overall? Is it more suitable by slasher themes or psychological, or just both, I guess? Horror genre. So horror to me is like jump scare, is like scary. Thriller is where you get more into the psychological. I think that psychological films should be called thrillers instead. Bruce says, Mel Brooks is a comedy god. I agree. Alex Garley says, just looked online. Jake Busey plays the son of Peter Keyes from Predator 2. Makes sense. Damn, I never realized that because I'd never seen Predator 2. Bomber the Hobbit says, my company are getting rid of paper cups for the water cooler. How do I disagree and stop the SJW mob to attack me? I wish you luck with that, sir. There's no clear answer there. Mr. Roy sent me 5 ice creams. Thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate that. And Kim Cam Park is still here. Fantastic. Awesome. I'm still here, guapo. Larry says, Spaceballs 2 should cover current Star Wars trilogy. I wish. God, they should make a Spaceballs 2. Hybrid says, sorry if I keep asking complicated questions, just don't want them to sound cliche and repetitive or anything. No, Hybrid, no complaints here. Sierra Production says, Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is sorry. Well, from my point of view, the Jedi are sorry. Well, then you are apathetic. John Wingler says, Odin Longman good. Odin Longman good? What? So Super says, I don't doubt it. It came out recently. Disney invested millions in Vice a couple years ago. Disney execs are straight crazy. Yes, they are. Siggy says, YouTube has been suppressing independent commentary in favor of corporate cable TV news. Latest Tim Pool tweet. Well, they have. And it's true, Sticky V. And that's why I love Tim Pool, because Tim Pool is like a moderate left person, and yet he has been the most vocal person calling out SJW-isms. It's great. It's great to have someone that I know I disagree with on several issues calling out this nonsense. 70B says, bye-bye. Sierra Production says, hello there, General Kenobi. Ha ha ha, you're the sorry one. Mikey Wood says, there has to be another influx of movies like Airplane, Mel Brooks lampoons, Mad again, especially now with woke PC apathy setting in. I hope so, and I think that we'll get that from Generation Z. It's been said before that Generation Z coming up is a very wise generation as far as rejecting SJW culture. So I hope. Darth Moral says, I completely love Shazam. Man, it should have made $650 million. It deserved it, but at least it broke. It made money at the box office, Darth Moral. It made money. Not a crap ton, but it did make money. It did make profit. And I agree. And that's the reason why we did a giveaway of Shazam Blu-rays. We gave it a giveaway of Shazam 4K Steelbooks. And that's why I myself, I'm picking mine up. I think it should be out next week. I'm very excited for it. Tina says, so another nail in the coffin called Star Wars. If Brie Larson stars as a Jedi in some vague Disney Star Wars trilogy, I thought they were Skywalkers now, not Jedi. I know, seriously, right? Wasn't that the direction they were going in? So yeah, so everyone that doesn't know, Brie Larson posted a picture of herself dressed in Jedi robes on her Instagram. Isn't that what everyone wants? Doesn't everyone here want Brie Larson to be in the next Star Wars? That's what I thought. Actually, I do, because then I think that movie would totally bomb and tank. So, yeah, go ahead. Rosetta Allen says, Hobby Lobby doesn't push the higher minimum yet. Start employees at 15, 25, 35 based on position. Exactly. And Hobby Lobby, is going to be completely against a lot of the other things that these crazy people in Hollywood and also in Washington are pushing. So Neon says, rumors keep popping up that Brie wanting to be in Star Wars film. I might choke to death from gagging in disgust. Sierra Production says, where is Padme? Is she safe? Where is Padme? Is she safe? Is she all right? It seems that in your sympathy you sorried her. I couldn't have. She was sad. I felt it. Sorry. Yes, go Orville. I saw someone put go Orville. Yes, agreed. Tina says, if Disney did own Ghibli and made a live-action Spirited Away, I'd ram my head into a drywall. Good Lord, if they tried to take anything. Well, luckily, as I said, they don't own any of the rights. So that was a deal they made to get it on Blu-ray. Russell Ali says, have you ever gotten into a fight or life-death stuff? Never got into a big-time fight. I have gotten into small skirmishes like when I was a kid, but nothing major. As far as death is concerned, I almost drowned as a kid, and I almost fell off a cliff as a kid. Now, by cliff, I don't mean like a giant mountaintop, but it's like the hills, and if I had fallen, I probably would have died. So, yeah. I do have near-death experiences. I was about this far away from being killed by a car. Basically, the window, one of the side mirrors of a car clipped my ear. So literally, had it been just a few inches closer, it would have hit me right in the head and I would have died. So, yeah. I was a very crazy child. Super says, I think they'll buy Sony before Warner Brothers. It's possible. It's possible, but Sony... Here's why I don't think that's the case. Because Sony is a giant corporation. Now, if you mean that they'll buy parts of Sony, that potentially could happen, like the rights to certain things. They're never going to buy Sony. Sony is a giant... Sony doesn't just make movies. I mean, technically speaking, it was Columbia Pictures, which is under Sony, that was a part of the latest Spider-Man film. So that's the reason why you have to always understand these different corporations and what they own. So no, I think that they would buy DC off of Warner Brothers more so than anything else, because I think that property is more valuable to them. And obviously someone could say, well, Spider-Man, but DC, here's the problem. Sony has the rights to it, and I don't think Sony's ever going to sell those rights to it. Seeing that they've already rebooted the character several times, and they would not put it past them to reboot it again sometime in the future, they're so hard-headed, I don't see them giving it up. Alex Riley says, Batman vs. Iron Man would happen if Disney bought DC. Yeah, it would. Hyman says, thanks for clarifying me about Disney's current relationship with Studio Ghibli. It's good that they aren't in a good relationship anymore, though I really do miss Ghibli. I do miss Ghibli's charm as well. But yeah, luckily it was a very specific type of relationship. And this guy says, how much of the movie theaters does Disney own? They don't own any movie theaters that I know of except for a couple, like in California and maybe some in Florida. So yeah, they don't own. So the reason why they don't own any movie theaters is because at that point they could be sued for antitrust violation, because at that point they would own the exhibition, distribution, and production of a movie. And that's very no in Hollywood, and also therefore in the governmental relationships. So that's the reason why. But I do think they own like a couple of theaters themselves. Like I think El Capitan is a Disney theater technically, but they don't own any major chains. And if they ever do, they would be stupid because they would be shot down. That would not ever be allowed to go through because, as I just said. Darth Morrill says, I'm going to be honest, the thought of Disney buying DC or Warner Brothers scares me because Warner Brothers owns so much, and I would hate to see it go all woke. And that's the reason why I said that I think that they would only buy the rights to DC, not to Warner Brothers overall. Now, of course, if they had a crap ton of money, I mean, God, for all I know. Sharon says, bye, everyone. It's been so much fun. Thanks so much. You're my favorite Norse guy. Well, Sharon Ferguson, thank you so much. Appreciate it. John Wheeler says, Disney motto, if you can't beat them, buy them. Yep. Hiram says, Disney will never stop forever cancerous like the Deadites from Evil Dead. By the way, Ash Williams should grab his chainsaw boomstick and attack Disney. I agree. Super Anime Gamer says, the umbrella scene... Super says the umbrella scene in Totoro is magical. I agree. So as I said, there's an 80s movie called The Blob and perfectly explains Disney's business style. I think I know what you mean. Oh man. Zyner Creative says, I'll be live streaming in an hour, and so for the first time, just hanging around, chilling with Odin. Awesome, Zyner. Well, good luck with that, man. Good luck with that. Frank the Bunny says, oh yeah, you probably already talked about it, but how was Aeroplane? Aeroplane was fantastic. Laura says, Hans C. Anderson was very anti-slavery in the 1850s. Maybe a black Ariel would have been okay with him. I saw a lot of the tweets that you were posting, Laura, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. But the bigger issue here is the reason why they went with this casting choice and why they're continuing to try to defend it by saying, oh, but it's possible. Here's the thing, though, is that, as I mentioned in my video, which was said to be hate speech, the only reason why that you would have people of color in that part of the world would be because of slavery. And so basically that means that you would have to make some kind of connection with the mer people, etc. Now, obviously, I do think that, and as I said before, I think Halle Bailey, could she be great? Sure. The bigger problem I have is the fact that you just know, because we have brains, that Disney chose her for casting because they wanted to make a political message and because they wanted woke points. Because if you're going to say that she had the best voice, I'm telling you right now, that's not true. Because there are so many people that have as equal as, if not better voices than her out there. So it's not that. You can't tell me it's her acting ability, because there are people that can act as well as, if not even better than her. You can't tell me it's her look, because I guarantee you there are people that fit the role that was already pre-established in their animation much better than what it is now. And so that's the reason why I have an issue with it, is because they are pandering to an audience. They are pandering, and they did it on purpose to get the reaction that they're getting from a lot of people. And that is the bigger issue with it. I don't care if historically it can be explained that something can work, because even if you can explain it historically, there's always going to be problems that come along with it. The bigger issue is the pandering that's going on. That's the reason why I have a big issue with it. All right, chat jumped on me again, but I do need to rush through these because I do need to go, but it looks like they've slowed down enough. Russell Lee says, heard about the LA earthquake. Also, you're the most religious guy I've ever seen. Is it far-fetched if we see with the end is nigh or I'm at salvation? Not me, because I'm a Catholic and we don't really believe in, we believe when Christ says, you will not know the hour, we take him at his word. So you'll never see any, the end is nigh nonsense from me. But yes, I'm praying for everyone in LA because I know that, and anyone in the surrounding area that got affected by the earthquake. Swedish girl, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Sasha Neon says, I would love if Disney collapsed under its bloated weight in Star Wars. The MCU and James Cameron's properties become their own new company free of shield. Oh, I wish. That is wishful thinking, though. Bruce says, visiting Tina, I'll have to make sure I'm in your graces enough to at least have a coffee with you and Tina at Hein Brothers Coffee Shop down the street from Tina's house. Oh, Bruce. All right, Bruce. Yeah, man, I would love to do meetups. I would love to do that. As McCarthy says, there are no friendly cats. Cats are evil. I know this from experience. Evil, I tell you, says Alex McCarthy. There are good cats. I have a good cat in my neighborhood. His name is Squeaks. Soul Assassin says, I have a cat, and he's been hanging around my dogs. That when the doorbell rings, the cat starts growling at the door. That's awesome. Soul Assassin, that's so cool. Rosetta Allen says, most cats are affectionate with the right person. It's not the same as a dog, though. Hyra says, are you Team Predator, Yacha, or Alien, Xenomorph? Movies or characters? If you mean like the individual character of the Predator and the Alien, I would be on Team Predator. But if you meant the movies, Alien. I think Alien has better movies. Hey, Predator, hey, guapo, says Hologram Nunchuck. What's going on, dude? Super says, also totally random, but the other day I watched Raimi's Spider-Man again for the first time since I was a kid. Still fantastic. We should watch it on a stream. I'd be down for that. As Riley says, when will then be now? Soon. CWD Trixie. If Brie Larson will be in Star Wars, then along with Rey will bring massive buildup of Mary Sue plot armor and break the universe. I agree. Senate says, will we both have falling off a cliff as a kid in common? Damn. All right. Glad you're okay. Hyman says, you should hear the story about Frank Selleck. He literally avoided death about 7 times. It's like he was experiencing Final Destination, falling from a plane and avoid accidents. Damn. Alex Bradley says, what movie are we doing on Thursday? If Rabbit is still up, Nightcrawler is the plan. Russell Ali says, you own a dog. I did too. Anything paranormal ever happen, like barking at 3 a.m. at walls or corridors? Nope. I don't buy the paranormal stuff. Like ghosts. I believe in possessions and stuff. Ooh, it just got dark. Laura says, have a good day. Good luck with the house hunting. Thank you very much, Laura. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then Tina, thank you so much. But we're going to end the stream, so let me go ahead and shout out some people really quick before we end it, though. So let me shout out my July patrons really quick. Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator, Baptist 702, Brian P, Chicago Joe 47, Darkstar 57, The Lee System 32, Dion, Edward Coleman, Enrique Evangelista, Entertainment Hacker, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunka Chunka Funka Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Idra Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Jerembeck, JJ, thank you for your generosity, dude. I really do appreciate it. Laura Story, Matthew Caters, Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Reef Magos, Rosetta Allen. What's going on, girl? Shenglong, Sir Lanzalato, Teodora, The DJD Show, Those Two Ball Guys, and Tina B. You are all amazing and beautiful people, so thank you so much for your support. And also a huge shout out to my Subscribe Star subscribers, Force Coach Jeremy, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, Filmy Professor, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Christian J. Murr, Texas Kayla, Rolando Scarfullery, Nevanon G. Adams, Andreas the K-Man, and Brandon Blick. You are all amazing and beautiful people as well. Hyman says, oh, sorry, I wasn't specific. I meant you would rather be a predator or an alien. Alien because then you have the skin that, you have blood that's also acid. Hyman says, oh, sorry, got that one. Rosetta Allen says, plus the story of Ariel is folklore, goes back before the book. That is also a fair point, Rosetta. Alex Riley says, awesome, I don't own Nightcrawler, but it's on Showtime. Glad to hear that's on Showtime, so it'll be available in case anyone is not able to watch it for any reason if Rabbit's not working. But yeah, I'm planning to do a giveaway on Thursday too, so I'm going to give away a couple copies of that movie as well because it's freaking great and more people need to see it, which is why I'm doing that on Thursdays. Spike Flash says, what is the matter? What is the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken? At least get the quote right, man. Sorry is what you should have said. Senate says, yeah, I was riding a horse and it almost went off the cliff. I bumped inside and went back. Oh my God, that's crazy. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for supporting. And also, if you want to be eligible for Patreon and Subscribe Star exclusive giveaways, please think about becoming a Subscribe Star member. That will get you access immediately once you sign up. If you're a $5 and up $5 and up Subscribe Star or Patreon member, you're eligible for those giveaways. I've already given away several things like steelbooks for Whiplash. I'm about to give away Shazam. So I'm going to do another Shazam giveaway for my Patreon and Subscribe Star people. So get ready for that. that. That's going to be over the next couple of days. And yeah, get excited, everybody. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Hopefully, I'll be able to upgrade my audio setup over the next couple of weeks as well. Though, of course, that's going to depend on some things with numbers and such. But hopefully, I can get that done. If not, I might have to do another stream to raise money to improve that. Or I might just have to wait until we finally move. But at the same time, too, since we're going to be moving into an apartment and not a home, I'm kind of like, oh, well, I might as well have it in the first place. But we'll figure that out as we go along. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Screw Disney. Screw Google. Seriously, you suck. You guys, though, watching this are amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.